Jennifer Silver lived quite long. She didn't die until 1994. A reason why Lily never felt motherless was that her mother was there with her, a door and a curtain away. It is a pity that Lily never understood this in a literal sense, but the concealment was necessary. Jennifer really meant to abandon her daughter, and how could I allow that? Jennifer was going to walk away from Anna and Lily in broad daylight. Anna was playing with her granddaughter, lying on her back in trapdoor room, with baby Lily on her stomach, cooing at her and comparing curl for curl. Jennifer had convinced herself that she hated them both, the child and the crone. She was modern and couldn't countenance being held by four walls just because she'd had a baby at a young age. She was going to Milan with her Italian photographer boyfriend, and he would make her face famous. Anna and Lily could have each other for all she cared. One blessing born from Lily's never knowing her mother is that Lily never knew how selfish her mother was. Jennifer was 19 years old and thought a lot of herself and how she looked. Her smooth ponytail, the crowded patterns on her silk shifts, the shine of her go-go boots. She had a tiny replica of a yew tree that she used to hold her earrings, perspex hoops dangling off the branches. Each month or so, the little tree had to be replaced because she'd gnawed it to an aged apple core. The earring tree was the last thing Jennifer put in her bag. It had to go on top of all her other things so that it wouldn't get damaged. Jennifer had cat-like eyes that she made stranger with coal. Her gaze was cold and self-reflective. Am I pretty? Yes. Am I pretty? Yes. Am I pretty? Maybe she was not really like that. It's just that I would prefer you to think that what happened to her was justified. I opened up for her. That is to say, I unlocked a door in her bedroom that she had not seen before, a door in the wall behind her dressing table. She exclaimed, but not overmuch. She wasn't particularly clever. She picked up her bag and went exploring. When she was safely down the new passageway, I closed the door behind her. It was the best sort of winter morning, cold but bright. That was the only sort of light Jennifer saw after that. It came through great windows, and she couldn't find her way away from them and out of me. Not that she tried hard. She was dazed. I'm not sure if she was lonely. She smiled to herself and played little games of dress-up with herself, pulling clothes out of her bag and repacking them, switching earrings and examining herself in window glass when night fell. When her little earring tree was gone, she bit at her fingers until I brought her branches from the garden. For years and years, yes. Her hair grayed quickly, but she didn't notice. When her shift dresses grew too dirty and tattered to play dress-up with, I let Jennifer back into the main part, where Lily and Anna lived. Lily was a teenager by then. I had to be very careful and quick letting Jennifer in. Jennifer thought that her daughter's room still belonged to her. She ignored the new pictures and posters and tried Lily's clothes on. She marveled at them. She loved them. When on earth did I buy this, she'd ask herself, stroking the sleeves of a suede jacket, unbuttoning and rebuttoning a pinstriped waistcoat. Don't feel sorry for Jennifer. Why should you? She lived long and relatively well, and she was kept safe from those fears and doubts peculiar to her times. She was safe from the war that sickened what it touched from miles away, the new kind of image that lashed the conscience to the nerves, the pictures of Phnom Penh burning with a kind of pagan festivity, the young bones in the mud at Chiang Ek, the Cambodians and yellow-skinned priests sprawled in graves dug poorly and in great fear, graves they dug for themselves. It is true that Jennifer Silver never did leave home, but she had longed for an unusual life, and she certainly had that. Believe it, don't believe it, as you will. Of course there is the idea that Anna caught Jennifer and tried to stop her from leaving, that the two fought, that Jennifer strangled to death in a circle made of Anna's fingers. But that is unrealistic for a number of reasons. And besides, without the corpse there is no proof of what may have come before.